Welcome to the greatest city in the world.
You ever made love to the melody? This is musical intercourse. You ever made love to the melody?
Street art has become something more than just vandalism of public property. It has evolved itself into a form of communication. Traveling through DC in search for graffiti has become more than just an assignment. It was a liberating experience, one I must say unforgettable. The subculture of D.C. Street Art reveals its purpose, people, and place in the form of graffiti. My journey begins on the district's main transit, the Metro's Red Line, at New York and Florida Avenue. Just seconds before approaching the platform, it's hard to miss the old, rustic building covered in vibrant graffiti writing, and I knew this was just the beginning. Simply, the word graffiti is defined as words or drawings scratched or scribbled on public or private property. Some say it represents man's desire and need for communication, attention, possibly recognition of some sort. Graffiti has always been a part of the people's lives in DC. It surrounds them, the tags, colorful, creative, and controversial art. Graffiti appears on walls, benches, fences, trains, anything and everything considered to be space. However one might interpret it, it has always become a way to communicate. But by looking at pieces of street art, it says something about the artist, the place, and the viewer. The approach Ryan takes on public space is compared to the purpose of graffiti. Its purpose is to leave its marks on spatial location. The art of graffiti embodies the values, ideas, and the needs of the particular community it represents. Graffiti has been dubbed as vandalism and an illegal use of public space. Jeff Farrell Best explains this in his book Crimes of Style when he states, graffiti writing survives as a creative, playful response to a prefabricated culture, a response as disrespectful of legal and political boundaries as it is the private and public property through which they are enforced. Graffiti exists as a public art outside the control of public officials, an alternative style outside the circle of corporate style and consumption. Graffiti illuminates the city, but sporadically, less a series of lasting monuments that evocative moments. Vulnerable to give and take of the street, ultimately, it stands as a sort of decentralized and decentered insubordination, a mysterious resistance to conformity and control, a stylish counterpunch to the belly of authority. Street art at its very core is illegal in its nature, and so, a visual act of defiance and revolt. Though the message may not be directed at authority figures or political ideals, the act remains that behind each piece of graffiti lies identity. Where is the artist, or the identity he portrays in his work? It's a common and controversial method of communication for young people in the district. It can be said that graffiti therefore is a reflection on the relationships between art and society, and consequently, this raises a question as to the authenticity of art in the public world. Is the act of graffiti a crime? From his text Cultural Studies, A Practical Introduction, Michael Ryan states, any group that is enjoined or denied entry into public life becomes a subculture. Each place thus has a distinct culture defined in part by identities of the people who live there. In each place, people who do the same activities but also lead slightly a different lifestyle. The infamous works of artists has become landmarks of our nation's capital and now a part of our culture and history.
Before we hit the end of this road, I would just like to let the fans know, thank you for listening. Y'all could have done anything else, but y'all let y'all ears hear some real shit.